Genesis chapter 48, verse.
And because of this, I'm going to tell you this. We broke this all the way down today. Because of this, if anyone come on any of our pages with this all Negro madness, they come on anything that we're teaching and try to bring that madness and try to bring something of a statue they found somewhere of madness that goes against the gospel of Christ, they will be blocked and ignored. If someone sent us email claiming that all black people are just the 12 tribes and not the rest that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, you are against the gospel and the mysteries of Christ. You will be blocked and ignored. We will not answer to it no more. This video is the answer to it all. And if it's not enough, pray for understanding. Let's go.
This is Genesis 48, 3 through 4. It says, And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make thee a multitude of people.
It's speaking of Joseph, who is Ephraim, whose son would be Ephraim over the 10 tribes. He would make them a what?
A multitude of people.
The fourth verse says, he will make them a multitude of what?
Of people.
What do that multitude means right there in the Hebrew right there?
Multitude is quahal.
Which means what?
Assembly, company, congregation, multitude.
Multitude of what?
People.
Of people. Let's get that people right there. What that say?
Ayim, which means a people, specifically a tribe, as those of Israel. Hence, collectively, troops or attendants, flock, folk, men, nation, or people.
So that would be a multitude of nations. A multitude of nations, which breaks down to a multitude of people. Read it.
Genesis 48, 18 through 19.
That's the one I want. Read.
And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he.
Talking about Ephraim, read.
And his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
A multitude of what?
A multitude of nations.
Multitude of, and what did that nation say?
Gawayah, which means a foreign nation, hence a Gentile.
A what?
A Gentile.
A Gentile, a multitude of the Gentiles. That's the mystery in what? Romans the 11th chapter, where it says all Israel shall be saved. Let's go to Romans 11. So when it says multitude of nations, it's speaking of the 10 tribes. Let's get there. Let's go to Romans 11.
Romans 11 and 25.
Read it.
For I would not be ignorant that ye should be, I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery.
Of this mystery.
Lest ye should be wise in your own conceits.
That you should be wise in your own conceits. That means you will start making up things and ignore Christ's true mission, which was to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Read.
That blindness in part is happened to Israel.
Blindness in part has happened to Israel. It's speaking of the northern kingdom.
Until the fullness of the Gentiles.
Until the multitude of nations. Same Hebrew word when you link it up from the Greek to the Hebrew in Genesis 48. Until the multitude of nations, which is Ephraim. Ephraim was over the 10 tribes. Read.
Until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
Until they be come in.
And so all Israel shall be saved.
Not just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All Israel. The northern and southern kingdom. That's why it tells you in Romans 11, when you read up before that, that the Gentiles who was given the riches, that was grafted into a tree contrary to nature, that they were not supposed to boast against the natural branches, lest they'll be cut off, and the original people of the tree be grafted back in again.
Mm-hmm.
The Gentiles have boasted, and now the northern kingdom is coming back to their original tree. That's the gospel. And those of the Gentiles that don't boast, you fulfill the part of Cornelius and the Gentiles that followed Christ, that will actually serve Israel under Christ in the new kingdom. Gets no clearer than that. Gets no clearer. So I hope that information today have solidified that whole thing concerning the mysteries of the gospel. The mystery of the Gentiles is the fact that Christ came to gather both sides, the northern and southern kingdom, into one, as it was before the sins of Solomon, so that he can be king over all of Israel like David was. He would take the throne of David. The mistake Israelites are making, they're claiming that Cornelius is the embodiment of the northern and southern kingdom coming together, which is wrong. Cornelius have nothing to do with that. That's totally wrong. All right? So the mystery of the gospel is that the teachings are to bring all of Israel, physical Israel, not spiritual Israelites, physical Israel, all 12, back under one king. That's the mystery. Even though they are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And guess what? Ephraim is not going to look just like Judah. It ain't going to happen. The 10 tribes are not, because it was a prophecy that they would actually look different. Let's go there where it says he mixed himself amongst the people. And after that, I'll answer questions, 5 minutes max, and then I have to wish you all Godspeed.
Hosea chapter 7 verse 8.
Read.
Ephraim,
He
have mixed himself among the people.
He have mixed himself amongst the people. So the mystery is to what? To get that multitude of nations, which is Ephraim, which are over the 10 tribes, back to Christ. But he mixed himself amongst the people. So if he mixed himself amongst Asians, wouldn't some of the children that are Israelites look like Asians? Should you ignore them because they don't look Negroid? Should you claim that they're not Israelites because they don't look Negroid? So if some of the 10 tribes mix themselves with the white man and look Caucasian, should you ignore them and not give them the gospel because they may be white? That's you getting in the way of the gospel. That's reverse racism, and that's getting in the way of Christ's mission. But guess what? Be very careful. With you trying to attack and go against us, be careful that you don't trample on the gospel that came from Christ. Be very careful, because if you find yourself fighting against the Most High, that's a fight you definitely will lose. Regardless of what you feel about teachers. Be careful not to trample on the gospel. If you don't know, it's better to say nothing. Read.
Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Ephraim is a cake not turned. A cake not turned is light on one side, dark on the other. Ephraim has mixed himself amongst the people. So all of the 10 tribes which Ephraim led are not going to look exactly how they looked 3,000 years ago. Okay? They were scattered. They were scattered before us. So get off that chest a Negro kick. You are off if you're teaching that. It's not just about people with Negroid features. That's not the gospel and mystery of Christ. And I hope this resonates so that the true gospel can continue to be taught. And if anyone that's teaching anything contrary, teach that someplace else. We welcome you to deal with that someplace else. we will continue to uphold the gospel and teach Christ's word throughout the four corners of the earth. With that, I'm going to say shalom.